Hey JoJo fans, time for another JoJo review. So we concluded our fight with Babyface. It took about like 4 minutes to conclude that whole fight, so it was a very small portion of this episode. Most of this episode was like a transition episode, but also introducing this new fight with Giacho, who I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think his name just literally translates to ice. Oh man, I wonder what his abilities are. But anyway, I'll pick apart this episode piece by piece so you can get a full idea of what I think. It looks like my original prediction of Babyface was for the most part correct. The idea that he could keep growing, as he did grow again in this episode. I don't know if they specifically specified that it was like an adult phase. Like, I was thinking that it was, like, maybe this is his teenager phase and maybe he goes into his adult phase. But rather, he just kind of grew in size. And basically how the fight ends is Giorno basically just uses the same trick on him again, but this time he transformed the motorcycle into a fake hand. So when Babyface absorbed the hand into his body, he turned it back, and then it combusted inside of him, and the gas kind of broke loose and covered him in gas, and then it ignited and exploded. And with that, Babyface was gone. He's dead. But like I mentioned before, Malone doesn't have a direct connection with Babyface, with Junior, as he calls him. So he's not affected by him losing the fight. He can just create another one. And he still has Bruno's blood, so he's planning to just create another one and send that one after. But what actually ends up happening is Giorno turned what was Babyface's remains, like his corpse, burnt ashes, and he turns that into a snake. So naturally, when he gives life to something, it returns to its owner, and its owner in this case would be Malone. So the snake all of a sudden just comes out from the train station, and just plops down on Malone and bites him on the tongue, and boom, he's dead. It is kind of a smart way of getting to the stand user so that he won't be able to send any more after you. It's not my favorite way of defeating the stand user, but it's smart, it works, it makes sense, so we move on. So we're back in the Turtle, and they get a message from the boss for Abba to play Moody Blues back this many hours. So he does, and it turns out that Pericolo, I believe his name was, the capo who relieved Trish to them, was in the Turtle. He's the one who placed the Turtle in the station, and he is reciting this message to them. So he holds up a picture and he says, "You're gonna retrieve a disc from here," and then he takes out his lighter and he starts burning the picture, so there's no evidence of it. As soon as he took out that lighter and started burning the picture, I was like, oh, that ending scene! That ending scene! And then he took out the gun and I was like, yep, it's that ending scene from a few episodes back. Pericolo's body dead on the ground, and he died because he shot himself, not because the guy shot him. And what's more, the piece of paper that he picks up is the burned shards of the picture. So it turns out they got all the ashes together for the picture, and all the bits and pieces, and they hired, or I guess threatened, this computer guy to put all the pieces together with the power of technology. So now they know where they're heading. So the next character that they end up facing off against is Giacho. I wonder what his ability is. So Giacho attacks them by freezing himself to the roof of the car and freezing the car to the negative hundreds, basically. It's freezing so fast that they're becoming stuck to the car and they can't move, and everything moist on their body is freezing up. They can't breathe. Giacho kind of reveals that they have the photo, or I think the photo flies into the car as soon as Giorno opens the window. The photo flies in, and he notices that Vista accidentally has his pinky ripped off because it was stuck to the car window, and he just moved it away and he didn't even notice it. But I'm sure he'll be fine. Let's not worry about that. So Mista is shooting up at the car, and his stands are even freezing. Number 4 and number 5 were freezing. And Giacho has himself guarded up with ice, like Iceman. So it's armor that the bullets, it's so thick that the bullets can't quite get to him. There's also this bit with Giacho. I think the idea is that his mind wanders off a lot, and he ends up thinking these random small talk type thoughts, and then he'll think something that like makes him upset. It's something really minor that's just annoying, and he starts freaking out about it, even though it has nothing to do with what's going on. So Mista is telling Giorno, hey, just turn the car into a frog or something, get him off the car. And Giorno reveals like kind of a weakness in his ability, something that he turns into a living object. It has to have some kind of heat. It can't be this cold. So what they end up doing, Mista fires up some more bullets, and Giorno turns the bullets into vines, and the vines grow and crack the ice, and he falls off. So Giachio's stand is actually kind of like armor on him. Like, he actually wears his stand, and it's like this ice skating armor. It looks kind of cool, actually. And he's quite graceful as a skater, mind you. He starts skating up to the car, and Mista fires some more bullets. It's super tough armor, though. His stand is very tough. The bullets just won't hit him. So he fires some bullets to get at the bottom of his skates, and he manages to trip him up, and he, like, falls on the ground pretty hard. Honestly, as soon as I saw that they were driving on a bridge surrounded by water, the first thing that came to my mind is, they're going in the water, aren't they? So Giachio, with quick thinking, freezes the exhaust from the car and starts climbing back up to it like rope. And he makes it to the trunk and kind of opens the trunk to be like a shield, I guess. And yeah, he freezes Mista's arm. Ouch. Then he like freezes Giorno's stand's arm. Also ouch. I'm sure they're fine, let's not worry about it. So Giorno comes up with the plan. You know what? We're in Venice. I'm driving into the canal. Just flies the car right off the bridge. I so knew they were going in the water. And as soon as, if you're on a bridge surrounded by water having a fight, how can you not go into the water? How can you even write a story like that? So maybe the idea behind going into the canal is the water obviously will be warmer than the ice. Maybe it'll melt and their arms will be free. But I kind of wonder, how strong is Giachio's ice abilities? Because if he can just, like, freeze the entire canal like Aokiji, then they're fucked as soon as they go in the canal, because you just helped your enemy, you know? It's like, ooh, ice to freeze. Even if he doesn't freeze it to, like, be ice, he can still, like, make it cold, and you could die of hypothermia. But I guess there are multiple directions that this could go. I mean, they're in the canal now. There's no going back, man. So that's an episode, my friends. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. I'm pretty sold on this fight already, but I don't know. It's like, is Giachio overpowered? I feel like ice powers are something that's been around in multiple mediums, and that's not entirely normal for JoJo's Bizarre Adventures to use a very basic power and put it, because they use kind of weird powers, and I always kind of liked that about JoJo, that they had really weird creative powers. That's also kind of what I like about One Piece. They have really weird creative powers that are just thrown in there, like the ability to chop up your body and you just have pieces of your body floating around. That's weird. Who thinks of that? Now we're dealing with the ice powers, and we've seen ice powers be used to quite an extreme extent. So I'm kind of wondering, where does JoJo lie on that scale? How strong is Giachio with his ice abilities? Because freezing a car to be like negative 100 degrees, that seems pretty dang strong to me. But maybe it's limited to just one spot. Maybe he can only, like, freeze it that much in one area. So I'm guessing the next episode we'll learn about Giachio's extent to his ice abilities and what his weakness is, and then we'll have to exploit that now, won't we? I also like the fact that this is a 2-against-1 type fight. Like, Giorno and Mista teaming up together. You don't get that many team-ups in JoJo. You don't get that many team-ups in anime in general. It's usually just one-off fights, like, oh, I fight him, you fight her. And team fights are kind of awkward to do when you're writing a story, but even if it's just for this short part, of the episode. I hope that it's for the next episode as well that they're fighting together, but for this short part, I kind of enjoyed the fact that they were beating up this guy together. So, I'll get back to this next week with the next episode. Remember to check the description for a JoJo surprise, like the video, comment below what you think, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Program restart.